experience that to argue or even reply brought swift retribution in the shape of her uncle's whip. After 2 years of living in the castle, Alida had acquired a self-control that gave her some small satisfaction because she knew that it surprised her relatives. Nevertheless, it was always hard to hear her sweet and gentle mother abused and know herself too cowardly to go on fighting a losing battle. "Books are for men," the Duchess was saying. "Women should sew, and a girl in your position, Alida, should make herself useful." "I have tried to do that, Aunt Sophie." "And so you should," the Duchess said. "You are a pauper. Do you hear me, Alida? A pauper. You live on the benevolence of your uncle, and the least you can do to show your gratitude is to help me to the best of your ability, which unfortunately is lamentably ineffective." "I do try, Aunt Sophie." "Then put that book back in the library immediately," the Duchess ordered, "and if I ever catch you taking one out again, and if I find you reading when you should be working, I promise you that your uncle will punish you extremely severely." Her eyes were cruel as she added, "You may think, now that you are 18, you are too old to be whipped, but I promise you that if you behave like a disobedient child, you will be treated like one." "Yes, Aunt Sophie." Alida picked up the book and moved towards the door. "One moment," the Duchess snapped. Alida paused and looked back at her aunt apprehensively. Her large eyes in her small face were full of unshed tears, not only from the pain of the fan, which had left a livid mark on her cheek, but also because she always felt like crying when she heard her aunt spit venom at her mother's memory. Yet she realized that nothing she could say or do could change the bitter hatred that her aunt and uncle had for her. "I came to tell you something that will undoubtedly greatly please you," the Duchess said slowly. "Equally, your behaviour makes me wonder whether once again I should ask Mary to change her mind." "Change her mind?" Alida asked in surprise. "Your cousin is very kind and generous to you," the Duchess said, "although heaven knows you don't deserve it. She has asked, Alida, that you should accompany her to Russia." Alida stood very still, the expression on her face incredulous. "To Russia?" she echoed, thinking that she could not have heard her aunt correctly. "Don't repeat everything I say in that irritating manner," the Duchess exclaimed. "Mary is to journey to St. Petersburg the week after next, when her approaching marriage to His Highness Prince Voronsky will be announced." "Oh, Aunt Sophie, how wonderful for her!" Alida cried. "I hope she will be very happy." "Mary will undoubtedly be extremely content to be the wife of such a distinguished personage," the Duchess replied, "and she has requested, I think misguidedly, that you should accompany her as her companion until she marries." "And I am to leave with her the week after next?" Alida asked. "That is exactly what I have just said. I cannot help feeling that Mary has made a great mistake. I would prefer that she should have chosen one of her friends. Perhaps Lady Penelope Berkeley, a charming, well-bred girl. But for some reason I cannot fathom, she wishes you to accompany her." There was no doubt from the Duchess's voice that she found such a request extraordinary. But Alida's eyes were shining with excitement. "It's very, very kind of Mary," she said, "and I will, of course, do everything I possibly can to be of assistance." "I should hope so," the Duchess said sharply. "There are not many young women who get such an opportunity. I can only pray, Alida, that you will behave yourself." "Of course I will, Aunt Sophie." "It's doubtful if you know the difference between right and wrong, considering the bad blood that runs in your veins," the Duchess remarked venomously. "But you will not be in St. Petersburg long, for the Grand Duchess Helene, with whom Mary will be staying, will, I am sure, wish the marriage to take place soon after her arrival in Russia, in which case you can come home immediately by the cheapest and quickest route." "Yes, Aunt Sophie." The Duchess looked her up and down. "I suppose," she said grudgingly, "that you will require some more gowns, although goodness knows what your uncle will say to such extravagance." "I have very few that are wearable," Alida replied.